You're fun.
Testing, testing.
6:02 p.m. And I would like to call to order the Monday, December 11th, rescheduled meeting of the Southampton County School Board. We have all 9 of our members present, so we do have a quorum present tonight. The agenda was included in your packets. However, I would like to make, no, that's okay, I can take that. The agenda was included in your packets. It's a board member who needs to add an item to the agenda tonight.
Yes. To close session, a student matter and a personnel matter.
Okay. Is there another board member?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask facility matter.
Student personnel, what was that?
Facility matter.
Facility.
And Dr. Goodwin, I need to add 2 things to closed session, and they're both personnel.
Okay. Is there another board member who needs to add an item to the agenda tonight? Then can we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? We have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Smith to approve the agenda as amended. You had in your packets the minutes from our regular November meeting and from our November 24th special meeting. Are there any corrections to those minutes? If not, then
Dr.
the
Goodwin,
minutes
I
stand.
do have one correction on the call meeting from November 24th. It lists under the matters for closed session, it includes the ad hoc committee, but that was discussed in open session once we came out.
Ad hoc committee discussion moved to open. So do we have a motion then to approve the minutes as corrected? I have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're now down to recognitions. And the first recognitions, we have 2 board members who will be leaving us at the end of this meeting. So I would like for Mr. Scott and Ms. Bunn to join me at the podium. Dr. Shannon. I don't know which one to go to do first, because I'll be in tears before this is over. So this says that to honor your service to education, Denise Bunn has been a board member for 19 years. Ms. Bunn?
I actually probably should have thought about something that I needed to say. I would like to say that when I came on the board, the entire purpose for doing it was to give back to the community. I'm a product of public education. I'm a firm believer in public education. There were a lot of people that sat in these chairs a lot of years before I did that made it possible for me. So the goal has always been to make sure that our children in Southampton County have the opportunities that they should.
Thank you. And you know that for me, Ms. Bunn has been an invaluable resource. The other person I hate to see leave the board is Mr. Greg Scott. Mr. Scott has been on the board for over 4 years, and he's certainly been a tremendous asset to the board. So, Mr. Scott, I hate to see you leave the board.
Thank you so much.
Get to board members and superintendent, and Ms. Key is over here to service of these two individuals, and our board will not be the same without having them here. So thank you very much. We know where you live, we know your phone numbers, contact information. We'll find you. Thank you very much. In Southampton County, not only do we enjoy recognizing the success of board members and the contributions of board members, but we also recognize the success of students. And success is not always academic. Success can be helping a friend. Success can be giving of yourself. So we recognize all forms of student success. So Dr. Shannon, I'll leave it to you to continue.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our December board meeting. First of all, I would like to say that I have enjoyed serving with Mrs. Bunn as well as Mr. Scott. And although you all are leaving and your term has come to an end, the impact that you all have made on our school division will last for years to come. So thank you all so very much for your service. Next, I'd like to say that our students of the month are, as Dr. Goodwin just stated, they are phenomenal. They are outstanding not only academically, but also athletically. They display leadership characteristics. They have positive character traits, and they are students that we just want to recognize for doing great things throughout the school and the community. We will start with Capron Elementary School, and we have Ms. Devonda Gary. Now, Ms. Gary also is the proud principal of a distinguished school, so let's give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon, Dr. Shannon, Dr. Goodwin, and board members. So tonight, our first student that we would like to recognize at Capron Elementary School is Mr. Jax Osborne. Jax is a second grade student at Capron Elementary School. Jax was nominated by his teacher, Mrs. Futrell. She states that he is consistently focused and on target. Jax has excellent manners and is a friend to all his classmates. And Jax missed Boy Scouts tonight to be here. So thank you, Jax, for coming. And I'm so proud of you for being Student of the Month. Next, we have Mr. Kyson Lester. Kyson is a fourth grade student at Capron Elementary School. Kyson was nominated by his teacher, Mrs. Roach. Kyson is considered to be a role model for his peers, academically and socially. According to Mrs. Roach, Kyson is always on target with assignments and is a roaring cub because he mimics those MTSS values daily. He's always responsible, on target, a problem solver, and responsible. Kyson Lester. Next, for Meharrin Elementary School, we have Tucker Brownfield. Tucker isn't here tonight. He had another engagement. Tucker is consistently showing kindness and care towards classmates, making others feel welcome and supported. He is a great listener who follows directions well and contributes positively to group activities. His creativity and sweetness shine through in class projects and when helping friends. Tucker Brownfield. Next, we have Devin Merrick IV. Devin is such a fantastic student. He has been a responsible and helpful peer in class. Devin is also very respectful to adults and has a smile that will light up the room. And you can see that in his picture, Devin Merrick IV.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Gary. Next, we have Ms. Street, who represents Nottoway Elementary School. Ms. Street.
I'm actually going to represent Nottoway and Riverdale for tonight. But
All right,
first,
awesome.
I'm going to start with my Nottoway babies, and my first one that I'm going to call up is Miss Aubrey Moody. Come on up for me. Ms. Aubrey is a fourth grade student at Nottoway Elementary. She was selected by her teachers because of her upbeat personality and her hard work ethic. And anybody that knows Ms. Aubrey Moody, she gives 110%, and I was so honored to give her this award tonight. Ms. Aubrey Moody. All right, my next Nottoway baby is I have Miss Carly Lane. Miss Lane, come on up. Miss Lane is one of my fifth grade students at Nottoway. She always has a positive attitude. She is always doing all of her assignments, working and trying her very, very best, and her teachers wanted to recognize and nominate her for the Student of the Month. So congratulations, Miss Carly Lane. Next, I have my Riverdale students. I have Aiden Elliott. Now, Mr. Aiden is in fourth grade, correct? Okay, at Riverdale, he is an excellent role model in his classroom. He consistently follows all the rules, demonstrates a strong work ethic, and remains focused in on his learning. He is friendly, respectful towards his classmates, and is always willing to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. Then I have Nadia Elliott. If Nadia will come on up. Now, Miss Nadia is in fourth grade, correct? Okay. And she is at Riverdale. She's an excellent role model in the class. She follows all of the rules, demonstrates a strong work ethic, and she's friendly to all of her classmates and is willing to lend a helping hand to those in need.
All right, thank you, Ms. Street. Next, we have Dr. Mark Barfield, Ms. Tiffany Madison, and Ms. Jasmine Galloway, representing Southampton Middle School.
Good evening, Dr. Shannon, Dr. Goodwin, esteemed members of the board. How are you all doing this evening? Excellent. So today I am going to be presenting the sixth grade students for the Student of the Month. And first and foremost, we want to start with Mr. Brady Galcher. I saw him come in. Brady demonstrates our school-wide expectations every single day, and his teachers consistently praise the character he shows in and out of the classroom. Brady is prepared, he arrives on time, ready to learn, and organized for the day. He is consistently respectful, treating others with kindness, and embracing the differences that make our school community strong. Brady, your commitment to excellence sets a strong example for your peers. We are proud to celebrate you today. And next we have Miss Hannah Whitehead. Hannah is another sixth grade student who consistently exemplifies what it means to be a leader also in our school community. Hannah demonstrates what it means to be prepared by arriving ready to learn every day. She is respectful by treating her classmates and staff with courtesy and consistently modeling positive interactions. Hannah, your steady commitment to excellence and the way you carry yourself each day make you truly stand out. Congratulations on this well-earned recognition. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Shannon, Dr. Goodwin, members of the board and community. It is my pleasure to recognize our 7th grade students of the month, and I'm going to start with Miss Amaya Barr. Amaya is an honor roll student and role model for others at Southampton Middle. Ms. Ruth, her science teacher, shared that Amaya has an amazing level of maturity and responsibility that sets her apart. She is kind and also bakes delicious cookies. She's an all-around amazing student and person. Amaya, we say hi. Next, we have Markel Bradshaw. Markel is a kind and respectful young man. He excels in science and STEM, and Ms. Daltrey, his math teacher, shared that he is quiet in class and listens attentively. He is friendly and interacts positively with his classmates. We are proud of the example he sets for others. Congratulations, Markel.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, board members, Dr. Shannon. It is my distinct pleasure to recognize 2 outstanding ladies of the class of 2030. Madison Dixon, will you please come forward? I asked Dr. Zolikoff to write words in regards to Madison. He stated that she's very caring and considerate young lady. She has dedicated herself to building up others by writing and sharing with quite a few teachers words of encouragement, enlightenment, and inspiration. She is a hard worker and shows care and concern for her peers. Madison is the type of students who make you come to work and look forward to it. And I bought my book tonight because she passed you motivation speech all throughout the day. And so I put it throughout my book. So when I go into a classroom, I just clip and see what Madison has shared to remind me of why I'm there. So we recognize Madison on tonight. Next is Jasmine Cobb. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here tonight, but Dr. Zolikoff stated also that she's a very respectful young lady with her smile and positive energy. She always brings joy to the classroom. Jasmine shows great concern for her work, and she does well. So again, we recognize Jasmine Cobb on tonight. Thank you.
And next we have Ms. Melissa Edwards, who's representing Southampton High School. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to recognize the Southampton High School Students of the Month for Mr. Baraka, and the first one is actually one of our CTE students. Can I have Janiyah Easter please come up? Janiyah was nominated by her teacher in culinary arts, Ms. Vick. Ms. Vick stated that Janiyah is quiet but observant. She listens and learns to new techniques and is always willing to help other students. She does not mind working and is an asset to our culinary program. It was a joy to tell Janiyah that she was Student of the Month for Mr. Baraka because she had a proud and beautiful reaction. It was wonderful. Congratulations. And our next Student of the Month cannot be here right now because he was with the basketball team, but Aiden Brown is a distinguished senior at Southampton High School who excels across academics, athletics, and activities. He maintains top of the class standing while successfully participating in the dual enrollment program. He's a leader both on and off the court. Aiden is a key member of the varsity baseball and basketball team. His exceptional organizational skills and leadership were recently highlighted as a wonderful part of our National Honor Society induction. Mr. Howell actually said that Aiden kind of really brought it all together and he stepped into that leadership role, and he truly is an outstanding young man. So Aiden Brown for Southampton High School. Thank you.
On behalf of the board, I do want to congratulate all of the students who were recognized tonight. And I also want to thank all the parents who are here, because we know that without you, Southampton County Public Schools would not be great. You are Southampton. So thank you for all that you do, parents and students. We're now going to move to the employee recognitions. Shannon?
Yes, Ms. Hutchinson will approach the podium to do those recognitions,
Yeah, before we do that, before students leave, Ms. Key likes to take a picture of all the students in the foyer before you go. So I don't know if students want to make your way to the foyer so that Ms. Key can get her picture of all the students. Thank you.
all right, and of course, behind all of those great students are great employees, not just the teachers, but cafeteria workers, bus drivers, whomever. Everyone works together to ensure that our students have a positive learning experience, and so we are excited about that. And Ms. Hutchinson, you now have the podium so that you can recognize those employees.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon. Good afternoon, Dr. Goodwin. Good afternoon, Ms. Lane, board members, Dr. Shannon, and our esteemed community. It is my pleasure to present you the employees of the month. Starting with Capron. Capron proudly recognizes Ms. Stacy Granite. Also, we proudly recognize at Capron, Ms. Deborah Hewitt. Moving to Meharon. Moving to Meharon, we recognize Ms. Ashley Van Dyke. Continuing to celebrate Meharon, we recognize Mr. Marcus Hill. At Nottaway Elementary, we celebrate Ms. Amanda Butler. Moving on through Nottaway to Ms. Amber Baker. Riverdale would like to celebrate Miss Mindy Lee. Continuing with Riverdale, we celebrate Miss Loretha Ricks. Southampton Middle School would like to celebrate Dr. Kenneth Zollikofer. Continuing with the middle school, we celebrate Tammy Baker. Southampton High School would like to celebrate and congratulate Mrs. Katina Woodley. Continuing with Southampton High School, we celebrate Ms. Hope Green. The Transportation Department would like to recognize a very faithful gentleman, Mr. Russell Britt. Food Services Department would like to recognize Ms. Shirley Walker. From Central Office, we are pleased to recognize our new Food Service Supervisor, Mr. Mark Ruffin. Also, Central Office would like to recognize our Attendance Officer, Mr. Jalen Boone. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire Southampton County School Board, I can't thank you enough, staff, all that you do for Southampton County Public Schools. It's because of you that Southampton County Public Schools is great. You're doing great things, great work, and it's all because of you. You are making a difference, so thank you very much. We are now going to move into the public comment period of our meeting. Although Virginia law does not require us to hold a public comment period, the Southampton County School Board chooses to do so because we believe it's important for us to hear from our community members. We value community input on issues affecting the education of the children in our county. The public comment period is a time for board members to listen. So please do not expect board members to respond to comments or answer questions during the public comment period. We do ask, however, that you follow a few guidelines if you wish to address the board. One is that if you wish to speak, you should sign up in the lobby prior to the start of the meeting. Two is that each individual has 3 minutes to speak, and that time limit has been created so that as many members as possible can speak and we can still have sufficient time to conduct other necessary business. We do have a visible timer so that speakers can keep up with their time allotment. Speakers should address their comments to the board, not to the superintendent or not to other audience members. We also ask that audience members refrain from personal attacks and from comments and demonstrations such as booing, hissing, and clapping. I'll now call up speakers in the order in which they signed up. First action item is the financial, no, we got a matter from previous meetings. So the matter from our previous meeting is the ad hoc committee on accountability and transparency. You did have in your packets, I believe, the information about that committee. I tried to pull together the notes from our meeting. Did you make copies, Ms. Artist? If you need a hard copy, Ms. Artist has some copies. But I tried to pull together, yeah, I need a copy. I tried to pull together the notes that we talked about at our meeting. And this is what I came up with. So, I want to start this by talking about the fact of the need for this committee. So I tried to put together some kind of resolution that pulled together our thoughts about establishing this committee. So whereas the Southampton County School Board is committed to open and responsible governance, and whereas the board recognizes the value of clear communication and easy access to information for parents, staff, and community members, and whereas the board seeks to strengthen public understanding of its work and improve how information about meetings, decisions, and operations is shared, and whereas the board believes that creating a committee with representation from board members, parents, community members, and school administrators will help identify practical steps to improve transparency and accountability. Now therefore be it resolved that the Southampton County School Board hereby establishes an ad hoc committee to promote transparency and accountability. We decided that the committee would be comprised of 2 school board members, the superintendent or the superintendent's designee, a building level administrator that will be selected by the superintendent, and 4 community members. Of the 4 community members, we said that at least 2 of those members must have a child currently enrolled in Southampton County Public Schools. There will be an application process for parents and community members who wish to serve on the committee, that we will announce the openings on the division website and through other communication channels and other platforms, and that people who are interested will submit a letter of interest that includes their name, address, phone number, email, a brief statement of their interest and any relevant experience areas of interest that might benefit the committee. Their letters of interest should go to the school board clerk, who's Ms. Artist, and that the board will review the applications that have been received, and then hopefully by February we'll be able to staff that committee. We said that the purpose of this committee is to promote transparency and accountability, and to do that, the committee will review current school board communication and information sharing practices and recommend improvements that enhance openness, clarity, accessibility, and public trust in the governance of Southampton County Public Schools. We came up with some objectives and deliverables. That the one objective is to strengthen accountability by examining board practices, processes, and documentation, and intended to ensure that its actions and decisions are traceable, well documented, and publicly understandable. We want to strengthen transparency by identifying tools and practices that can make information clearer, easy to access, and more timely. And then we want to support transparency and accountability by reviewing our existing communication tools and platforms, identifying gaps, identifying areas where information may be difficult to locate or interpret. And then this committee will prepare and present a final written report that will include recommendations regarding opportunities to share data and performance metrics with stakeholders, best practices for reporting on the expenditures of public funds, ways to make and encourage public participation, and any other findings of the committee. This committee is advisory, that it operates only in that advisory capacity, that it does not possess any decision-making authority, and that the committee will conduct all work in alignment with applicable Virginia laws and Southampton School Board policies. So did I leave anything else, school board members? So we're ready to move forward. Mr. Rogers?
I'd move that we proceed with the committee as is outlined in the resolution.
Thank you. Do we have a second? We have a motion by Mr. Rogers, a second by Ms. Lane, that the board move forward with establishing the ad hoc committee to promote transparency and accountability. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then we will get the announcement up on our communication channels, and in January we'll review the applications that we have, and in February we'll be ready to appoint the committee so we can start working. Thank you. We're now down to action items, and the first action item is the financial report and payment of bills. Dr. Shannon.
Ms. Carr is on her way to the podium to give that report. Thank you, Ms. Carr. And while she's there, if she's able to go ahead and discuss the tentative budget calendar, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, all. If I could bring your attention to the preliminary expenditure report for the month of November, you'll see that our operating budget remains at $35,877,931. Our expenditures through November 30th total $11,228,258.23, and this leaves us a balance of $24,649,672.77. Please note that as of the date of this report, 31.3% has been expended from the operating budget. Also included for your review is the preliminary revenue report for the month of November, which shows revenues received from all funding sources, which includes $9,217,839.90 from local, state, and federal funds, and $445,568.57 from food service funds. The November bill list has been attached to the agenda for the board's approval tonight.
Have any questions for Ms. Carr? We have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Ms. Hobbs to accept, to pay the bills as presented. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Carr.
Okay, thank you. So we also have for your review tonight the tentative budget calendar, and of course, like I said, this is a draft and it is tentative based on your schedule. So it kind of follows the same outline that we've had over the years. You'll see that January the 12th, when we have our first board meeting in 2026, is when we receive a citizen's input for the FY27 budget. Now, our principals will be working on their budget request at the school levels, and we'll be gathering that information along with information from our department heads, and we will have we will schedule for January 21st a budget committee work session. We will also have another budget committee work session scheduled for February the 4th. And then after that, it is scheduled to present the budget to the school board in a work session on February the 11th. On February 25th, if needed, we will have another scheduled school board work session. And then scheduled for March the 2nd at 6 o'clock will be the public hearing on the proposed budget. And then the following Monday night at our regular school board meeting on March the 9th, we're scheduled to approve the budget. And then actually the March 10th date is just the date that we carry it down or submit it to the county.
The practice of the school board has been that the vice chair of the board chairs the budget committee. So following that practice, I would like to ask Ms. Lane to chair that school board budget committee and work with the superintendent and her team in terms of drafting that budget. And Mr. Smith, would you work on that committee because of your historical knowledge of how the budget process works. So I'm asking Mr. Smith and Ms. Lane to be the board representatives on the board, on the budget committee that is put together by the superintendent, but you will be our representatives on that committee.
Dr. Goodwin? Yes. I apologize. Can we go back to the calendar for a minute?
The budget calendar?
Mm-hmm.
The tentative budget calendar.
Correct. So in January, we already have a work session scheduled for the 26th. So instead of, pardon me?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We already have a work session scheduled for the 26th. So instead of meeting on the 21st and the 26th, can we just keep the 26th, the date that we already have?
Well, the 21st is not for all of us. The 21st is for
just the budget committee? Okay.
Right. So the first time that all of us will meet will be February 11th. Will be the first time that the whole board meets to look at the budget. And then we have a whole board work session in February the 25th.
So our regular board meeting for February is the 9th. So we're gonna meet Monday for a regular meeting and then that Wednesday.
So the 11th is not a Monday? Okay.
No, the 11th is a Wednesday.
Okay, so we need to change that to the 9th. That the superintendent will present that draft budget to us in a special meeting, before our regular meeting, like at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
and then the 25th is also a Wednesday.
Okay, so maybe that date will work. If not, I guess we've got time to look at the 25th. Yeah. But it's 2 times of the full board we get to discuss the budget, and both of those in February.
Okay, thank you.
So everybody agree that we're changing that date to February 9th at 6 p.m. That's a Monday. And then all the other dates will remain the same, and that Mr. Smith and Ms. Lane will be the board members who will represent us on the budget committee, school district budget committee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're now down to field trip request, Dr. Shannon.
Yes. In your packet, you will find a field trip request from the senior class sponsors, Ms. Courtney Boone Hill and Mr. Kevin Howell, and they are requesting permission to transport about 70 students to Orlando, Florida. They would like to go on April the 23rd and leaving that night of the 23rd and returning on the 26th of April. They will only miss 1 day from school, and that will be that Friday. And they have the leave time and all other details on the application. And they say that it is a bonding trip, and they do have the appropriate number of chaperones, and they are fundraising to raise the money for the trip. They also plan to take a chartered bus.
Are you recommending approval?
Yes, I certainly recommend that the seniors participate in this activity.
A motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Scott to approve the senior class trip. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any? We got a question? Okay. So we have, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Now abstentions. We've got 2 abstentions and 7 yeses. Did you have questions about the trip or concerns? Dr. Tennant? Dr. Tennant? You abstained. I thought you needed more information, or you think the trip, what's your thinking?
I don't feel like it's enough information to say yes. The purpose or
just for the future, what information would you like to see included?
Well, I mean, the purpose or educational value, there should be a description there, not, in my opinion, there should be an explanation about it. Like, what are they gonna do? I mean, do you see your body meeting? Like, let's give us.
Okay, so you want to know what the educational,
Well, I mean, it says on the form, purpose or educational value, if they're supposed to feel that.
okay. Was there anything else that you needed to know? I mean, we've already approved it. I was just trying to see what we could do so this wouldn't come up again. You know, historically, seniors at Southampton High School have gone to Florida for spring break. But you're saying that you would like to know more about the educational reason for having students go on this trip. Okay. All right, that's fine. I was just trying to, you know, get a sense of, you know, what other information they could put in. Okay. So we have approved that trip. Next one is the external review policy. Dr. Shannon, you want to explain to us what's going on with that?
Sure. So we were tasked with updating our external review policy, and we did some research, looked at some of the other policies that existed in some of the other school divisions, and thought that this policy best mirrored what we would like to see done here at Southampton. So the policy essentially outlines what will occur when it comes to like data collection, whether it's internal or external parties. And we wanted to just make sure that, you know, students' rights were protected as well as employees' rights. Also, you know, kind of what would happen with the data, who has access to the data, who can even, you know, conduct research or things like that. So this is a first read, and, you know, the board will have an opportunity to review this particular policy, and we'll reconvene, you know, to approve it. The definitions are listed on the first page, you know, and that's just to be explicit so that there will be no ambiguity when it comes to what we're talking about. And then we talk a little bit about the authority to approve and who has that authority, as well as privacy protections, consent, and inspection rights. Confidentiality of personally identifiable student and employee information, and then right of instrument inspection and consent procedures for sensitive topics. And then we cross-reference the legal references.
This is first read. From looking at it, is there additional information that you would like to see included in this policy before it comes back to us for approval in January?
I'm gonna need more time to look over it to make type of recommendations.
Okay. Okay, just bring recommendations to the January meeting. Okay. 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 So we're down to a resolution concerning a new building. So Dr. Shannon, you want to tell us what's going on with that?
Yes, so actually the gentleman did a lot of the groundwork for us in public comment when he talked a little bit about the condition of the middle school. And so we all know that the middle school as well as Capron are our oldest schools. They were built in 1954 and they are really almost in disrepair. And so we have our architect who is here with us tonight, who will come to the podium and just talk a little bit about the condition of the schools. And then we have a resolution here where we just want to put it on record that the schools need to be built. We've been talking about it for a long time. You know, we recognize that we are, you know, at our wits' end when it comes to trying to constantly repair. these buildings. We've reached a point where we need new schools. Capron needs a new elementary school. Like I said, right now, they are a distinguished school, you know, one of the highest ratings that the State Department has. And the students, they're doing phenomenal work. We have an excellent principal, but when it comes to just equity issues, they do not have the same opportunities that the students at the other elementary schools have. You know, they don't have a gymnasium, and just, you know, just the quality of their classrooms, the size of the classrooms, is less than desirable. So we just would really like for our students to have the schools that they deserve, and you know, at a minimum, just access to things as simple as a gymnasium, you know, or not have all the number of their classes in trailers and things like that. So again, the architect is here. Thank you, Josh, and if you would just give us a few words.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, members of the Board of Education. Thank you for inviting me tonight. I love seeing your smiling faces. Like, this is one of my favorite school boards to attend, because every time we come here, you guys are always smiling, which is fantastic. Yes, we have a brief overview of both the schools. Both schools are mature in age, Capron, and the challenge is with all buildings, whether it's a school, whether it's a firehouse, whether it's a community building or a house, over time, materials only last so long. You know, we can continue to repair and paint and do things, but the reality is, over time, things need to be replaced. And both Capron and the middle school are at a point where the materials are beyond their reasonable lifespan. And so you heard the gentleman speak. Thank you. You heard the gentleman speak earlier about some of the concerns, and we voiced similar concerns. Not because you haven't taken care of the schools, but because the materials are beyond their usable life and now need to be replaced. So Capron, as Dr. Shannon said, was built in 1953. Some of your big challenges with the building are you do have multiple modular classrooms and multiple spaces. You do not have a gymnasium. So when you look at least you have the classrooms, but with modular classrooms you have a number of challenges. One is those buildings are not intended to be a long-term solution. They are a short-term solution. Typically we do them when we have additions that are going to be forthcoming or a future project. You also the security challenges. We're not going to get into a whole bunch of security pieces, but when students are traveling from the main building to go to a modular classroom, you have the ability for outsiders. You have students like me that would run away, so it becomes a challenge. So what can we do to solve some of those pieces? Without having a gym, there's equity amongst the schools, and that is a challenge. Sorry, am I doing something wrong? Do I back up? If you look at the document that I shared, there are some other security challenges. Not that the building is not safe, but things could do to help to improve the security. HVAC, lighting, plumbing, again, are all beyond their usable life. And when you look at the classrooms, the majority of your classroom spaces, educational spaces, do not meet VDOE's minimum standard for those spaces. As far as size goes, the light levels, the technology of the spaces. Again, not because you guys have not been good stewards of the schools and of your money, but as I said, things wear out over time, and you're doing the best that you can with your spaces. Any questions on Capron before? Oh, and the last other big challenge you have is car and bus drop-off. If anybody's a parent here at Capron, I can't believe that there hasn't been more anxiety raised on the sharing of the car and bus drop-off. It is one of the biggest things that we hear of concern. The good news is not a high school, so you don't have the students traveling also. But again, if we can, even if the new building would be constructed on this site or a major repair to this building, what we'd recommend is at least a separation of car and bus drop-off on the site to be able to make that a more, and this is not the bus drivers, so the bus drivers are awesome. This is us parents who are maybe a little bit late for work, or want to get going, and maybe a little bit less than excited to be there picking up or dropping off their child. So are there any questions on Capron before I go to the middle school?
I have one quick one for you, Josh.
Yes, sir.
The current site, and I don't know how much time you've spent looking at it, do you think the current site would support creation of another school while that school was, the current facility was in use, or do you think that we would have to figure out either another location or we'd have to relocate from the current building?
It's a great question. So the answer is yes. It is a very tight site, and we did a study to look and see it is possible to construct a new school on the existing site while the current one is operational. Right now, we're actually constructing we're constructing a couple of elementaries at Hanover that are also very close. The big challenge is you lose, and this is where folks get a little raises the anxiety level is the playgrounds. Is that we start to lose playgrounds, and where are the students going to play while that building is being constructed? The other piece of that is it doesn't always let us have the most advantageous design when you have a stretch site. So those are all things that we want to look at. Is what is the best piece? If you have land available, we would love to look at, again, are there opportunities to build a school either on, as an example, on the high school side, on the middle school side? Is there another elementary school that may have spaces? And I said we'd be happy to explore those. We believe that you can build a new elementary on the site, but if there was a new site that would also be similar so I believe VDOE is goal around 15 acres for this site, and I think that this is a little bit tight when you're looking at their standards. So that may be another thing to look at is, again, a site that's a little bit closer to VOE standards for the building, the parking lot, the drop-offs, and also the playground. Okay. Any other questions on Capron? If not, the middle school has very similar challenges. Probably the biggest things is again, we're looking at classroom size. The spaces have been well maintained, but the materials and your systems are all at the end of their usable life. Whether that's the ceilings, the HVAC, the lighting, and again, when you start to look at replacing those systems, one of the questions that we often receive is, well, gee, Josh, can't we just, it's already building is there. Is it going to be more cost effective to renovate, do a comprehensive renovation than to do a building replacement? And there used to be a day when we would say, yes, it is less expensive to do a renovation. What we found in today's world, because of either having to do modular classrooms, which cost $500,000 in cost to be able to put modular classrooms, the safety factor, the power to be able to provide that. Where do the modular classrooms go? Is that to do a long renovation. So let me give you an example. At Hanover, we were looking to do an additional renovation to Beaverdale Elementary School, and that was done in the previous study before we got there. We were hired, and we looked at the assessment, and to renovate that building was going to take 36 months to do additions and renovations for that building. And so the school board said, hey Josh, can we do better? So they asked us to look at a new building option, and the cost was almost identical to do a new building option versus a addition renovation. And instead of taking 36 months, we're doing it in 16 months. So also when you look at the impact on education program, the costs are very similar, and it's a significant reduction in time. I'm not telling you to do new building, but again, when you're looking at apples to apples, it does make a lot of sense. Educational program wise, you're getting a full brand new building for the same cost that you would an additional renovation without the disruption. So we're looking at say HVAC, lighting, the building envelope, the roof, the windows. Again, the majority of that building is well maintained over time, is at the end of its useful life, and is either due for a large comprehensive renovation or for a replacement, and that reflects in the document. So any questions on the middle school? So this is more of a high level overview.
Hypothetically,
Yes, ma'am.
how long would it take if you started today? How long would it take to build that building?
As a brand new building? So if we looked at the square footage, so we're, from a design standpoint, you're looking at anywhere from 12 to 14 months for design. And then you're looking at, from a construction standpoint, you're looking at anywhere from 16 to 22 months for construction. So, and one happens and then the other happens. So you're looking at anywhere upwards of a 3-year time period. I don't want to, and that's part of the challenge, is that we don't build a building overnight. In order to do a proper design, we need to go through the programming effort, look at the enrollment, look at what programs to do out in the space. and then actually do the design, working with the teachers, working with the administration, working with the board, and then submitting that for permits, submitting it for DOE for review, and then we put it out for bid, have the contractors bid on it, and then they can start construction. So I said a building of this size, I said, is it, you know, anywhere from 18 to 24 to 22 months of construction, and design, I said, is anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 months of design time and approval time. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay.
Same site question, Josh. Is there room to construct? If we're gonna build a new middle school, is there room on this site to construct that, or only if we demolish and then rebuild on the same site?
So this one is a little bit different of a challenge, only because you have your stadium, you have a lot of other pieces of the high school, so we don't have as much open land that's visible. Plus, from a location standpoint, doesn't make sense. Again, nothing is impossible, you know, but this one would have to be a little bit heavier look. The other opportunity, and please don't get mad at me, is to looking at the opposite side of the high school. You know, so where your ball fields are and where that open land is, do you look at that as an opportunity, which is basically kind of building the new middle school and then basically taking where the middle school is and making those the ball fields? You know, is one way that we could possibly look at it. I just don't know in the middle school proper itself if there's opportunity there to do that.
You said people that went would need about 15 acres. What about the middle school?
So the middle school, when VDOE looks at it, they look at the enrollment and they also look at play fields along with that. So the question is going to be is how many play fields would we want to construct, or do we just want to continue to share the high school ones? You know, middle school is somewhere around 20 and 25 acres is probably a reasonable amount. I said, especially if we can continue to share the athletic space with the high school. And it's a recommendation, not a requirement. So they based on, hey, this is what we found. This is what the recommendations are.
Let me see if I can make you sweat. In today's dollars, a comparable project that maybe you worked on for either the middle school or for the elementary school, do you have a guess of what this is costing somebody to build in a similar situation today?
Yes. I thought I put it on here. So we're. Give me 1 second.
And we will write it down in the notes so that we can go back and say, Josh said it was only going to cost us. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just looking for today's ballpark.
Right. So we're looking at an elementary of around 40,000 square feet, which is not unsimilar to what you have plus your modulars. You know, we're thinking the cost range is going to be somewhere between $15.5 and $18.5 million. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but in today's dollars, especially after COVID, we've seen an increase in we were hoping that after COVID, we're going to see a drop. And it more leveled off than it did drop. So we still have not seen that. Now, the one thing that we did include in this was the temporary modular classrooms, if that's needed. You know, so again, if we don't, depending on where because we're using the modulars, so if we build the building basically behind it, then we have to look at having somewhere temporary to be able to do that. So, so we were trying to calculate some other costs that would be part of that piece. That does not include the purchase of land, you know, or any other pieces along with that. That would be trying to put the building on that site. And then the middle school, and again, please keep in mind this was without doing a programming exercise and all the other pieces. You know, we're looking about 85,000 square feet for the middle school, because again, the middle school has different elements to it. You know, you have the opportunities for CTE spaces and other larger lab type of spaces. You know, so we're looking at about 85,000 square feet. So this could range between $34 to $38 million. Again, not including land purchase or utilities to the site. This would be kind of putting us somewhere within the site and trying to make that work. And again, these are just ballpark estimates. This is not a design. I just had this conversation this morning. We're just trying to give you a ballpark idea so what that could possibly look like.
Thank you. We won't go back to the minutes.
Yeah. The middle school is around 85,000, but again, please keep in mind that is just a solid guess based on the programs you have. That's not looking at any future programs, any additional CTE spaces, science labs. This is simply just looking at around what you have and trying to create something very similar to that. We just completed in Stanton a new CTE lab with them. We did 2 6th grade science labs and new CTE space. Some of the exploratory things that are happening right now are very exciting. You know, where in middle school, they basically have an austere, lab that, for the first 3 weeks, the students may be doing bicycle repair or doing some other, or doing robotics, and essentially it's a lab where the students over the course of a semester, every 3 or 4 weeks, they have a different program. It's simply just an exploratory experience. It's not a whole semester, and the students are absolutely enamored with that space. So if you have a teacher that says, hey, this is something I'd be willing to take on, I would strongly encourage you to, even today, the exploratory options, and we'd love to give a tour. So we just finished the one in Stanton earlier this year. It is a truly wonderful space, and the teachers love it, the students love it. It's worth the trip to get up there.
Additional questions, comments? But
both of the projects are long past due. We've talked about Capron for years and years and tried to have it added to the capital improvement budget for the county. But it's certainly time, and I think until we make a resolution and move that forward, it may not ever happen. But both of them are certainly long overdue.
Additional comments? Because as the resolution points out, under the Code of Virginia, the school board is responsible for identifying facility needs and supervising the operation of school buildings, but the financial responsibility for school capital projects rests exclusively with the governing body, which is the Board of Supervisors. So what we have to do is to make sure that we communicate to them our need, and passing a resolution is one way to formally let them know that we need new buildings, that we have been good stewards of buildings that are 60 years old or more, 70 years old in some cases. But at some point, we have to think about and plan for replacing those buildings. So this resolution is one way to move forward the need for new buildings. So that's the purpose of a resolution, is to communicate our need to the Board of Supervisors. Mrs. Smith, you were.
Yes, I think it's time. We have major highway.
Rogers, I think you were about to say something.
Yeah, I want to echo what Mr. Smith said and Ms. Bunn. It's time. So I wholeheartedly agree. I had one more question for Josh to make that point. If you were to tell me the useful life of a newly built school, what would the useful life of or expected life of a school be?
So the building itself should, if you build it today, should last 100 years. Now, with that being said, every 20 to 30 years, you're looking at replacement of HVAC and lighting and those pieces. But the shell of the building of today's, design should last you 100 years. It should be around long after all of us pass. Now, that's not always been the time. In the 70s, architects did not do a good job. I'm just going to be honest. The 70s buildings were kind of a bit rubbish. I mean, it was bad. It was a bad decade. But when you look at today's, today's buildings should last 100 years.
Okay. And a building that is currently eligible for Social Security is maybe past its life if it was built in 1951.
you have additional questions for Josh? So do we have a motion to approve the resolution? We have a motion by Ms. Hobbs, a second by Ms. Lane, to approve the resolution for building replacement schools for Capel Elementary and Southampton Middle School. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. Thank you. So now we're down to a resolution about the groundbreaking. Dr. Shannon?
Sure. So, as Dr. Gould just stated, we also have a resolution regarding the official building name and the groundbreaking for the Student Health Center. And we would like for the groundbreaking to occur next Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m. And we are looking at the building being completed within about 6 months. We're waiting on some permits from the county right now, but as soon as we get those permits, then things will be underway. But the building is about 7,000 square feet, and it is essentially designed to strengthen our health services and expand instructional opportunities for physical education. It can also be used as a multi-use instructional area. It'll have a concession stand, classroom spaces, and it can be used even for indoor athletic events. I remember there being a discussion about whether there would or would not be, AC in the building. And because of some changes that were made, we now are able to ensure that it has heat and cooling in the building as well. So we would just like to have this resolution passed and for everyone to be in our groundbreaking next Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m.
Any questions about the Student Health Center? Ms. King, you have a question? Do we have a motion to approve this resolution? A motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Scott, to approve the resolution establishing the official building name for the Southampton County Public Schools Student Health Center and the names to place on the brass building plaque. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Then it passes unanimously. Ms. Arts, please send us out a reminder about the groundbreaking. And that's December 18th at 10 o'clock.
Yes, and I think our architect plans to be there or send us some equipment or something. There you are.
There's zero chance I'm going to miss it. So
Perfect.
yes, I'm going to bring hard hats. I'm going to bring hard hats and shovels for everybody. Lots of picture time. Working on the program. The contractor is working on getting some equipment, so we have those as a backdrop, a little bit of dirt. So it's going to be a wonderful event. I highly recommend everybody coming.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're excited. Thank you. We're now down to the superintendent's reports. And the first report is the instructional report. Dr. Shannon.
Sure. So one of the things that I want to make the board aware of, and let me pull this up again, is that we do have two distinguished schools. And those schools are the high school and Capron Elementary School. And that's huge. One second, I want to share with you the letter that VDOE sent. They sent a letter to each principal and essentially just congratulating the principals, for the work that they've done. And so what they stated, let me say this too, Nottoway was off by 1 point. We've said that the whole time. They were 89. We fought so hard for that 1 point. We went back through, we spent days meeting, going through student data, just everything, but we just didn't have it. So, but are really proud of all of our schools. Like I said, Nottaway was off by 1 point. Riverdale was pretty close as well. They were on track. Mahara is on track. The only school that we had that was off track was the middle school. And they were still pretty close to being on track. But we know we have some work to do there, and we plan to get that work done. But the letter that we received from BDOE, and we actually got one letter this morning, and I got one letter last night. So BDOE has been moving fairly quickly. But it reads, and it's actually addressed to the principals. So this one is to Mr. Baraka, but I also have one for Mrs. Gary as well. And it reads, I am pleased to congratulate you and your school community on achieving the distinguished category on the Commonwealth's School Performance and Support Framework, an honor that reflects the highest levels of commitment, consistency, and belief in what your students can achieve. Recognition of this caliber is a result of strong instructional leadership, empowered teachers, engaged families, and a student-centered school culture that prioritizes excellence. This distinguished status is a clear indication that your school is exceeding the state's expectation for achievement, growth, and readiness for the next grade level or graduation. Leadership matters. Your students' success showcases what is possible when adults lead with vision, act with purpose, and maintain a relentless focus on student growth and achievement. I want to personally thank you for modeling the kind of leadership that moves education forward, being attentive to data, responsive to student needs, and optimistic about the future. Under the School Performance and Support Framework, distinguished schools serve as exemplars whose effective practices can be shared across the Commonwealth to support strengthened outcomes for all students. Therefore, we look forward to learning more about the best practices underway at Southampton High School and Capron Elementary School and student supports you and your team implemented to help your school achieve this success. We hope other principals and school teams will have the opportunity to see your work in action and learn from the best. Please extend my gratitude and admiration to your entire staff. Congratulations again on this extraordinary achievement. Your school is a shining example of what excellence looks like, and I am proud to recognize your leadership. With appreciation and respect, Emily Ann Gullickson, the Superintendent of Public Instruction. So again, I just wanted to make sure that we did acknowledge the great work that our principals and our students, teachers, families, and our communities have done. I'm extremely proud of you all.
That is great news. I mean, I know that's great news. We have two distinguished schools, not one, but two distinguished schools, Capron Elementary and Southampton High Schools. That is great work.
Yes, more than 3. Riverdale, I'm telling you, we are so close. So I'm really anticipating probably 4 next year. They can get it done.
I have a question. What's the difference? I guess it's a new accountability system. The performance level is what we're distinguished at. How does that differ from the accreditation status?
So accreditation now is centered around compliance, and so it's simply like almost like check boxes. They give us a survey, and once we answer that survey, if it's something that we say that we're missing, or if there's something that we say that we have not done, or we're not compliant with at that particular time, and that specific moment in time, then it's possible that you may not be accredited, or you may be conditionally accredited, or what have you. So right now we are working with BDOE. We just got this data last week, so everything's hot off the press. And even when they had their meeting last week, they only allowed about 5 minutes for questions and answers, and they did not really even address these true issues. The meeting was centered around like federal designations, and we have not been federally identified or anything. And so we've been writing letters to BDOE since, I'll say we've been reaching out since last week, even through the help desk, and we started sending letters early this week. So I intend to hopefully talk to someone tomorrow. I think they've had some state board meetings, is what I understand, and they had been in state board meetings for about 2 days, so they had not been able to really communicate with us. But I anticipate talking with them tomorrow to talk more about accreditation. Yeah. But the performance designations are clearly that. They're based on academic performance. And that's where, you know, distinguish the on track, off track, of what have you. And again, the other is, you know, compliance. It could be that, you know, you have too many students in a classroom, or, you know, not enough special education teachers for the number of students that you have, or anything like that can happen, and you can be conditionally accredited. And this is the first year we've had this, right? Yep, first year ever. Yeah, first year ever that they've had the two. Correct. In the past, if you were fully accredited, it was just like a big umbrella, and people assumed that, well, really, in the past, full accreditation did mirror or emphasize performance, but there was not a whole lot of focus on the compliance aspect, you know. And one thing about Virginia is they allow school divisions to self-report, and then once you self-report, you basically just you know, state or attest that whatever that you're reporting is true. And so, you know, that's what we are. No, I think they might have been, it seems like 76 or 77 is where they were. Yeah, but they were not closer to off track, to be honest with you, no. And we have some strategies in place. You know, this is a new process. So we've had to study the process and study some of the, just some of the things that they have in place and the ways that we can ensure that our children, that they excel on this new model, you know. And a lot of it with the middle school is, and they're in like a unique position because it's like they're in the middle of, you know, elementary and high school. So they don't have as much, you know, they don't have that CTE component. So, but one of the gains that you can acquire at the middle school level is through some of the higher level courses in math. And so it's going to take looking at the curriculum and then kind of looking at who's taking what math classes, who's taking what science classes, when are they taking those classes, and then going back and revamping some of that. But one of the issues is that you can find yourself in a situation where you're helping one school and hurting the other. You know, so like, if we took geometry from the high school and placed it back at the middle school, then, you know, you may help the middle school but possibly hurt the high school. So it's one of those things you kind of just have to balance it. And again, we've had a number of meetings discussing this, and so we do have a game plan moving forward with how we are able to move the middle school forward and acquire the points that we need for them to be on track. Now, the high school, it may impact them being distinguished, but yeah. Additional questions, comments? Congratulations, Shannon, and that's quite an accomplishment. All right, so next on the report is the instructional report, and we have Ms. Rachel Doyle with us tonight to provide that report. Thank you, Ms. Doyle. She is our reading guru with the background in math, believe it or not. but she is definitely the reading guru.
I had some very strong people that helped mold me whenever I first came here, so I'm grateful for those people. Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board members, and all present. The December instructional report topics are as follows: Virginia Literacy Act updates, professional development, and testing information. For our Virginia Literacy Act updates, required changes as communicated by VDOE have been made to our division literacy plan. The only minor change we had to make was a direct link to the DLP. The original link was to our VLA implementation website, which is where the division literacy plan was housed. Our VLP reading coaches, Stephanie Presley and Natalie Rose, provided a Zoom training session on the new VLP walkthrough observation tool on November 17th. Stephanie was the lead on this team and was very knowledgeable about the tool. The components of the tool primarily focused on in this training were phonemic awareness, phonics, word reading, and fluency. A second training took place on December 3rd, outlining the additional components of the tool, which include vocabulary, knowledge or knowledge building, language interactions through listening, speaking, reading, and writing, questioning, and discourse, written or spoken communication. We are pleased to announce that our VLP coaches will be partnering with Meharon and Riverdale Elementary to provide on-site support and training in administering observations using the new tool on January 21st. After a period of data collection with the new tool, the coaches are going to provide on-site training for our administrative and reading specialist team. The training will provide an opportunity to discuss the data gathered through observation by school teams and recommend next steps for the team, including literacy coaching opportunities, professional development, etc. Mid-year VALS testing will take place when we return from the winter holiday. These dates are as follows. Middle school VALS testing will occur January 6th through the 9th. 4th and 5th grade testing is scheduled for January 7th through the 9th. And kindergarten through 3rd grade VALS testing will take place the week of January 12th through the 16th. We anticipate that most K through 3 testing will be complete by the end of the week. However, due to the length of the test, it may extend into the beginning of the next week. The following professional development sessions have been scheduled for January through March. Both HMH Into Reading Leader Success Training for elementary principals and Into Literature Leader Success Training for secondary principals will take place on January 20th. The VLP Literacy Coach Observation Tool Partnership visit mentioned previously will take place on January 21st. Edgenuity training for SMS teachers, SHS teachers, and secondary administrators will take place on January 23rd. We've had previous training on Edgenuity, but we've had some new teachers come in and some new administrators, and they are requesting that support. Our 2 HMH Coachly coaches will be visiting grade level teams in person at Capron, Nottoway, the middle school, and the high school on January 27th. And then we will have 3 additional HMH Zooms. There will be a secondary training on preparing and planning on February 24th, an elementary training on prioritizing pacing and vocabulary support February 26th, and a secondary training on skill-based instruction on March 24th. And lastly, our testing information. SHS mock SOL testing was scheduled for the week of December 1st through 5th. The first day of mock testing took place as planned. However, due to the inclement weather and snow days, the Friday's mock testing was moved to December 10th. Retakes for term grads were also scheduled to be completed by December 5th, but due to the weather, those tests are expected to be completed by December 15th. And then lastly, SMS 4.5-week benchmarks were pushed to next week and will take place on Tuesday and Wednesday, December 16th and 17th. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for either Dr. Shannon or Ms. Doyle?
All right, thank you, Ms. Doyle. Next, we have our MOST report, Maintenance Operations and Transportation report with Dr. Melby.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Shannon, board. I didn't realize how appropriate the December would be on my report. I originally made it, but here we are. All right, so updates. The Athletic Hall of Fame, the lettering got put up last week. Just sharing with Dr. Shannon that the hardware to hang the jerseys got back ordered and then held up with the weather. They showed up today. So that's going there. The health building, you guys had that update earlier. Still waiting on permits from the county to get dirt moving on that. Parent Square, I think over the over dismissal, a bunch of you got new messages from Parent Square as everybody was integrated into that program. And again, it's something that we're going to continue to use throughout the remainder of the year as Remind is on its way out. Student IDs, working on putting those out to the elementary schools, got lanyards and card holders to get those to the elementary schools to start with, the lunch lines and the libraries, so kids can just scan their IDs instead of having to punch in any of their ID numbers. The school safety and security equipment grant, we're working on it. We got awarded that in November. I don't have the total number off the top of my head. I do apologize for that. But we are working on upgrading the parking lot lights at Meharon, Nottoway, and Riverdale to be much like the lighting that we did here at the high school and the middle school last year. Working with Angel Tracks about the camera systems on the buses so that we're able to remotely access them. We don't have to go track the bus down, pull the tape, bring it back, put it through the system, and do that. We're able to pull it remotely using that access. Around the division, we are going to replace and upgrade the AEDs that we have, and additional replacement cameras inside and outside of the schools for both surveillance inside and outside the building. So the parking lots, the athletic fields, things like that will receive camera systems installed there. Can't read my own stuff up there. The state each year, if they do have money that gets returned or unspent, they will reallocate that. And this year we received some funds for Hunterdale Elementary School, and so we have started to work on their systems there, bringing that building back. So the visitor ID system, the window security film was actually, she came in on Tuesday, drove in from Fredericksburg Tuesday and did that project. And then the camera system updates, and then also radios for the administrators and teachers inside there. The Versa grant is the $4,000 grant that we get for being a Versa client. We put that application in every year, August 1st. We were awarded that grant, so part of that is going to be emergency door releases, gym wall mats for the middle school, jumper boxes for the garage, and then also an anti-slip floor coating at the bus garage as well. Those are the updates for this month.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Dr. Mill. I appreciate it. All right, next we have our vacancy report with Ms. Hutchinson.
Good evening again. Our vacancy report as of today, at Capron Elementary, we have no vacancies. At Meharon, we have no vacancies. At Nottoway, we have no vacancies. At Riverdale, we have, guess what? No vacancies. Southampton Middle School, we are seeking a reading resource teacher. Initially, we were advertising this position as a reading specialist, which is a super hard position to fill. So we shifted to the reading resource teacher, and we are seeking to fill that position. At Southampton High School, we need a special education teacher, and we're currently interviewing for that. And we need a tech draw teacher. We conducted an interview for that, so we are having some discussions about that. At Central Office, we do need an IT technician, and we have started interviewing for that. We need a director of finance, but sadly, no one has applied yet. It's coming though. And we are seeking an HR marketing specialist.
Do we have any long-term subs in positions? Or when we say no vacancies, we mean we have licensed people in all positions?
There are some long-term subs in positions, but we do encourage and assist and support our long-term sub teachers and going back to school, becoming students and getting the things that they need. So we do have regular conversations with them about that, to kind of keep them encouraged and push
Do
forward.
we keep that position posted so that we're continuing to?
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
look? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then how many international teachers do we have?
At this point, we have 26 total.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Shannon?
All right, next we're down to the enrollment report. And looking at the student enrollment report, we were projected to have 2,115 students, and as of today, we have 2,347 students. And that's actually as of the 30th of November. And then also looking at the student and teacher attendance award, Meharron Elementary is the winner for the teacher attendance award at 95.52%. And then Nottoway Elementary is the winner for the student attendance award at 98.64%. All right, you also have in your packets your school calendars. And they are just making you aware of activities that are occurring in the schools. And feel free to partake and attend any of those activities.
Okay. So we're now down to statement of economic interest. And under separate cover, you received your statement of economic interest, which you are requested to complete a return to the superintendent's office no later than February 1st, 2026. And Ms. Artist will make sure you get those before you leave tonight. So pursuant to section 2.2-3711A, 1 through 7 and 8 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, the board, upon a motion and a second, will convene in a closed session. Under Virginia Code Section A1, it's for the purpose of discussion of assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, salaries, and resignation of specific appointees or employees of the school board. Under Section Code A7 is for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel employed by the school board regarding actual litigation matters with such consultation and open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. And under Section A8, for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel employed by the school division regarding personnel-related legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. So do we have such a motion? I have a motion by Ms. Lane, a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? So we will convene in closed session in the library. At the conclusion of the closed session, we will return to this area to take action on any items that might arise. So we'll make our way to the library, please.